Professor Omar Karam, the Dean of Faculty of Informatics and Computer Science, British University in Egypt, who will talk about evaluation of digital transformation experience in African higher education institutions. Professor Omar is the Dean of the Faculty of Informatics and Computer Science at the British University in Egypt. Professor Karam also has extensive professional experience in ICT management. He was the executive director of the Egyptian Universities Network and director of Ain Shams University Research and Education Network. He also worked for National Telecommunications Institute in Cairo. In the private sector in Egypt, he was the technical director for Link ME and a project manager with UNITRA Communications. Welcome, Professor Omar.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we hear you.
I'm going to share my screen now, and hold on. Are you able to see my screen yet?
Yes. No, not yet. Yes, not yet.
Okay. I think it's you can share it now, and you can see it now.
Yes, it's clear. We can see it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and thank you for this wonderful introduction. I just need to put this out of the way. And I work now with the British University in Egypt. I've been with them for some time, and we've been through a lot in the past 12, 13 years. The university was started in 2005. We graduated our first cohort in 2009. And we cooperate with British universities. And of course, we are an Egyptian private university. Why I'm mentioning that is because there are Egyptian regulations, of course, we have to follow. And then there are, of course, United Kingdom or British regulations we have to follow. And that will, when I'm talking about digital transformation and software and applications that cater to the academic administration, we have two sets of rules and two masters to serve, actually. But what I like to emphasize is that digital transformation, to me and to many other people in universities, has really 4 dimensions. Its applications, or we make use of it in governance and administration, deans, heads of departments, decision makers and presidents and chairman of the boards of trustees. And then there's the teaching and learning dimension. A lot of very useful information about it today. And then there are 2 others, research and infrastructure. I'll be emphasizing the first 2, but I'll be touching on research and infrastructure also, I hope. Now, I'd like to bring your attention to this nice diagram, which is somewhat of a gearbox. The lower left is digitization. And then the middle gear is digitalization. And then the top gear is digital transformation. And it's very important in evaluating our work to distinguish between digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation. Now let's start with digitization, because that's been around for a long, long time. And it's turning everything analog, or in the real world, into data and zeros and one. So that includes paper records, texts, lectures, put them on video and store them somewhere, ID cards, etc. So basically, we digitize the information and organize them. We turn them into data and then into information. We digitize and organize. This is digitization. Let's take a step up towards digitalization. Digitalization concerns processes, actually. So we automate the processes, we streamline processes. We have some data, document management software, for example, that moves our documents from one place to the other, and so on. And we begin the trip down no paper and paperless offices and all that, including, for example, admissions applications and all that. Now, let's move up a little bit to digital transformation, because this really, we need to get knowledge and decision support from both lower end of the spectrum, digitalization and digitization. And digital transformation affects, based on the data and the knowledge we extract from the other two processes, affects our operation, affects our decision making, affects our budget. And it really gives us a lot of knowledge about our strengths, our weaknesses, and where we should, what we should fix, and how to move ahead. So this distinction between digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation is key. And we have to ask ourselves, which stage are we at? How much digital transformation do we have? Is what we're talking about digitalization? Because that's really equal to automation, but using computers and electronic devices. So it is key to understand where we are on this simple three-stage spectrum. Now, let me give you an example, if you allow me, about an application for governance and administration. We always have academic action plans, and academic action plans tells us what we're going to do next year. So, does my software or do my applications allow me or assist me in designing my academic action plan? Very quickly, the academic action plan concerns where we are now, capabilities, capacities of faculties, evaluating the abilities of existing academics, and so on and so forth, and some steps to be done to cover disadvantages or points of weaknesses. So we have to identify, as in this gearbox in front of us, identify, refine, discuss, and then make decisions. Now, are our applications able to assist us in this? Do they give us enough knowledge to assist us in this? Well, the academic action plan development, it really feeds from academic data. And this is how digital transformation emphasizes, knowledge and the processes. So we have external examiner reports, we have student records, we have learning KPIs, we have the situation with at-risk students or special needs student, if you will, in addition to the at-risk. We have feedback from the students, feedback from the faculty members, we've got review panels. All this creates a pool, a repository of academic data. And this is the data which will lead us to make decisions and overcome any shortcomings, because that is the action plan, and that's how we use the digital transformation, one of the digital transformation applications, towards designing an action plan for the coming months. So a good action plan, these are the characteristics of a good action plan. I'm sure most of us have gone through this exercise. We study what the current situation is, the feedback from all the data we have, and then we make decisions. So data analytics is the heart of a good action plan. This is what we're looking for when I'm looking for feedback from the digital transformation processes or applications we have. We need to enhance the student experience, enhance student progression, identify at-risk students, increase graduation rates, reduce graduation periods. These are all targets that the action plan should help us through the digital and through the applications used in digital transformation. This is a framework for harnessing data analytics. This is quite a straightforward cycle for the preparation. But what I want to show you is what kind of data we can have, and that defines whether we're at the digital transformation stage or not. Not this specifically, but something similar. This, for example, is the engagement rate for students by year and semester. And it's colored by module level. And if you know the UK system, a module means course in the American system. So it measures the engagement rate for each. It can visualize the engagement rate, and it's by year, by semester, by module level or course level. That means year 1, year 2, year 3, or sophomore, senior, junior. And it tells you, you can see trends, you can spot trends immediately, either by year, by semester, or by the level of the student, the academic level of the student. So this is just a simple example of what I mean by, what digital transformation should give us. This is, for example, a simple relationship diagram that decides or provides us with a visualization of what affects the engagement of a student. And this is all extracted from the applications of digital transformation. As long as you have the data and you can measure the engagement, you decide on the criteria that measures the engagement. And then after you decide on the level of engagement, then you can measure how much of these parameters affect the engagement of a certain student, and then you can start addressing the issue. This is all from the data that's provided by the digitalization, and then processed at the digital transformation level. So we need to ask ourselves, where are we from this? And we need to really be honest with ourselves, at which level of these processes are we? This is an engagement rate versus the pass rate. The x-axis is the engagement rate, and the y-axis is the pass rate. And then there's the correlation. It's almost linear relationship between the engagement and the pass rate. Now this would be normal. Now, if you don't need that specific curve in this correlation or linear relationship between the engagement rate and the pass rate, then you'll have to stop, take a look at this course and see why is the engagement rate not related to the pass rate. Students' feedback mining, right? We all do our evaluations for the students, and this really from what they write, we can deduce this chart, the sentiments and the percentage of negative votes or negative opinions versus positive opinions in each and every item. Mining and knowledge discovery is a key aspect of digital transformation. That's the road to education 4.0. At the British University in Egypt, for example, we had a problem with having a student record system that can combine the Egyptian regulations and the British regulations. And inside the regulations, deep are embedded the values and traditions of both systems, actually. And some of these differences are really deep. So we have a student record system, an HR system, finance, admissions, etc. And we started in 2008 with a software house to tailor our requirements to their, but it was difficult, and we had to forego a very commercial companies and go directly to a software house, an academic software house in another university. We were 3 faculties at the time. In 2008, less than 1,000 students. The drive towards that was, this was driven by the fact that the British partner gave us a deadline for having a student record system. And then we purchased the product in 2009. And we have our own software development team that works on it since 2009, 2010. And that team is leading the digitalization process and the digital transformation process. It is necessary to have really professionals in charge of that. Academics can supervise, can manage, but when you evaluate the team responsible, you really need to evaluate their professionalism and how much time they give. I've noticed that a lot of universities in North Africa, or Africa maybe generally, the academics take care of many of these tasks. And that's a double-edged sword. And it's usually, I mean, these are full-time jobs. They should be fully dedicated people, because the changes are fast, the requirements are fast. They have to understand and study knowledge discovery processes and data mining in order to allow us to digitally transform the institution. Our software allows for examination boards, program boards, impaired performances, appeals, misconduct committees, transcripts, Egyptian and UK, because they are different, and undergraduate, postgraduate, and all of that. And it does create a repository of data that we then are able to implement or to use in our digital transformation decision making, or planning and all that. We have specific. Let's talk a little bit about teaching and learning and the digital transformation here. That's the second dimension. And I borrowed this from my colleague, who's the director of the Center for Emerging Learning Technologies at the BUE. And they designed software to aid and to assist in teaching, based on remote experimentation. That was their main drive. Not virtual experiments and simulation, but running real experiments from afar. They do also do virtual stuff, but because most of the main learning, the strongest learning is through participation in activities. And you need to provide for that when you have remote learning and when we're in a pandemic. So that is really affecting and giving a different experience to the student who's running
excuse me, Professor
Yes.
Omar. We have 2 minutes.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Am I running out of time?
Sorry, because we don't have much time.
Sorry, couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
We apologize. Yes.
Yeah, say again, please.
We have 2 minutes because we don't have much time.
Hold on.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Professor Omar.
You can or cannot?
Okay. Kindly, we have 2 minutes to.
Yes, you have to what?
2 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We are very sorry, Dr. Professor Omar.
That's fine, I'll go through that.
Yes, it's informative.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
So our friends, our colleagues in the Center for E-Learning Technologies, they designed these experiments, and they are interactive, and they allow us to follow the intended learning outcomes of, and this is the center itself, and you have a username, a guest, and password 123456. You can go on there and try their experiments. And this is all, they really have one-to-one correspondence experiments and electromagnetic experiments and all that to satisfy the intended learning outcomes. But then again, they give us data and analysis of the students' feedback and the students' behavior, and the module leader or the instructor can really use this, because these are the tools of digital transformation. The e-learning at BUE, pretty strong, pretty standard. It covers the 11 faculties we have. All the modules and all the courses have an e-learning presence. But the main strength of it is we use interactive e-learning resources that's coupled inside the e-learning from major publishers. And then you have also to evaluate the e-learning system, you need to check the resources and what kind of resources are provided to your students. This is the e-learning hierarchy and system we have. E-learning system, interactive learning processes, module course files and module files, and so on and so forth. Now, IT, this is just very quickly for the infrastructure. You do need a chief information officer. These are the questions you need to evaluate your choice of CIO. The infrastructure, software, you need heads for both, and you need to evaluate both the abilities. Evaluating the structure of the IT abilities is really, really important. Thank you very much. I'll conclude with this, and thank you.
Thank you, Professor Omar, for your informative and fruitful speech and presentation. Do anyone have a question? Okay. Thank you, Professor Omar.
Thank you.